Hello YouTube. When I tell people that I've collected back a lot of the toys that I used to own in the 80s and I've made quite a few collections, they ask me, where do you keep it all? And this is one of my solutions. So I bought a whole load of these drawers. I think they're made by Bisley. And you can see here I bought a grey set of drawers, a red set of drawers and a black set of drawers. And then I just switched out the drawers so that you get this interesting kind of colour scheme. I think these look really funky, and I keep loads of my smaller items in these. Obviously I keep lots of toys that are bigger in cabinets and that kind of thing, and in converted bookshelves, that sort of thing. But I thought I'd give you a little tour of some of my drawers to give you an idea. I have done separate whole videos on some of these toy collections, but I'll just give you a quick run through today to give you the idea. So if you have a look in here, these are muscle figures from the 80s. I think there was something like 236 to collect, and I managed to get all of them now. I might do a separate video actually coming up soon because I managed to get the rare one, which is called Satan Cross. He's pretty cool, and that completes my whole collection. And then we've got Battle Beasts, and we've also got a few Monster in my pockets. I want to get some more Monster in my pockets at some point. Battle Beasts are amazing. Like, I really loved them when I was a kid in the 80s. I had several figures back then, which I bought actually in Florida on a holiday. And I collected those back, and then I collected all of the rest. You can see in this drawer I've got a whole load of Frankenweenie figures, and then a whole load of Wallace and Gromit figures as well, which are a bit more recent. So with the Battle Beasts, I've got Series 1, Series 2 and Series 3 with all of their rubs and all of their little weapons. The weapons quite often end up being more expensive now than the actual figures. They did go on to make Laser Beasts after that, but those are ridiculously expensive. Okay, then in this drawer we've got some Dino Riders, and we've got some old Games Workshop figures, little metal Warhammer and that kind of thing from the 80s as well. This next drawer contains all of the miniature Thundercats figures. I've got all of the full-size Thundercats figures as well in a cabinet, but these are the mini ones. So you've got, again, all of them with all their weapons. There's the Snowcat and the Snow Meow, which is quite rare. And then you've got this little Snarf figure, which I think was only available in Greece or somewhere like that. I've got a nice kind of little boxed example of him. And with the Mumra, I got his little tomb thing that he goes in as well, his little coffin. So that's a really nice drawer, that one. Then we go on to Gobots. With these, I've tried to collect some of them. You know, if I find cheap enough versions, I buy one of each, so I can display one as the robot and one as the vehicle. There are so many little Gobots, and this is a sort of an ongoing collection, but those are the ones that I've got so far. Again, most of those are ones that I had as a kid that I wanted to get back, and then I'm just buying extra ones that I like as well. This Fruit Machine Transformer was a kind of knockoff of the Gobots, a cheap version, but I had it as a kid, so again I bought that back. That little tank I bought back as well. And then we've got a lot of creatures that are kind of based on insects and that sort of thing. And then there's quite a few Gobots in here that all join together to form one big giant robot, which is really cool. I really like that particular set. And in that drawer you also saw, you know, some little plastic parachute guys and some of those like fuzzy worm things that you used to pull along on a bit of string. Right, this drawer's just full of a whole load of Moshi Monsters that I bought at car boot sale, that I just couldn't resist having a drawer full of Moshi Monsters. Much more modern, but still likeable. Then this drawer is all full of Fabuland figures. Again, I've tried to collect back the ones that I definitely had when I was a kid, which I think I had most of them, to be honest. There are still more that I haven't got, but again, it's space with all this kind of stuff. You know, do I want to collect the entire full set of everything? Probably not. These are all gripper toys. I bought a job lot of gripper toys on eBay, and there were literally hundreds of them in there. I just picked out some of my favourites and filled a drawer with them. Some of my absolute favourites are in a cabinet, things like Garfield and Alf and My Pet Monster. Right, so as somebody who has a full collection of the original Kenner Star Wars figures, I couldn't resist buying these Kubrick figures as well. They're much more modern again, but I just really love them. They're very stylized. The look of them is like a cross between Lego minifigures and the original Kenner Star Wars figures. So I bought all the main series of those, and then I bought the DX series as well, which came with little vehicles and things. I've got those in a separate cabinet. And then I bought quite a few of the Chase figures as well. So that's a really nice collection. I'm really pleased with those. Some of these are from Phantom Menace as well. The next figures in this drawer are from the original Ghostbusters line. So you've got, Frankenstein, Dracula, Werewolf, Hunchback. You've got a mummy in there and a sort of little zombie guy as well. And then in the next drawer, it's all the actual Ghostbusters characters. And I tried to get them with their little proton packs and weapons and little mini ghosts and that sort of thing. And they just look really great together. They're really brightly coloured, and I just love those. And I've got a whole load of extra things in cabinets, with like Slimers and other kind of monsters and ghosts and all kinds of things. This drawer, this is also Ghostbusters figures. These ones are quite nice because they all do interesting things, like they kind of flip down and like they've got more grotesque faces in them and that sort of thing. Very monstrous. Okay, these are a few Beetlejuice figures that I just bought recently. I want to add to those and buy the rest of the range. Then I've got these original A-Team figures. This guy is from Police Academy in the middle there, and then I've got a couple more Monster in My Pockets and Pinky and the Brain. Wherever I can, I try to buy old vintage toys, but with the Muppets, I wasn't able to find, as many characters as I wanted to find that were old, so I just bought more modern ones. And same with Days, I've got some Scooby-Doo figures there, they're all quite modern. And then I've got some Austin Powers, Dr. Evil, and this guy is from The Little Vampire. These are the original Matchbox Thunderbirds figures. Most of these I managed to get at a car boots, and then I just bought the odd one or two to complete the set. So they're all complete now with all their little weapons, and there's a few variations in there as well. So I consider that collection now complete. I've got a whole load of little Postman Pat figures. I used to love Postman Pat when I was a kid, and probably still do, to be honest. Then I've got a load of Wind in the Willows figures, a Postman Pat pencil sharpener that just fit in the drawer nicely, and a couple of Tom and Jerry figures there. Right, these are Egg Monsters by Bandai, and I've spent quite a lot of time trying to collect all of these. I had some when I was a kid. I had like the skeleton guy, and I've tried to collect back basically like all of the others, and I'm getting there. There's still going to be quite a few that I need, but I'm really pleased with how this collection is going. Some of them were really hard to source. What's even harder to source is the little tiny mascots that go with them, but I've got a little bag with a few in it. There's a few micro machines, little Star Wars vehicles and that sort of thing. Okay, these are all erasers that wouldn't fit in another drawer that I've got, which you'll see in a minute. These ones are all too deep, so they have to go in these deeper drawers, but there's some Danger Mouse ones, all kinds of bits and bobs, key rings, and then just things that meant something to me when I was a kid. A little Tetley round radio, Nerds, which I bought when I was in America when I was a kid. Little sticky octopus, fake poo. Who doesn't want a fake poo? And then we've got various kind of jokes and things. I've got more of those in separate cabinets as well. There's a little mini operation game that I bought recently at a toy fair, but I couldn't resist it. It reminds me of the one back in the day. There's a Sugar Puffs little pencil topper, and then we've got all these little balls. Again, the one with the skull on it, I remember having when I was a kid, so I don't know how I managed to get that back, so I have no idea what make it is or anything like that. A few bouncy balls and a few Womble pencil tops. Oh yeah, underneath the little operation game, you've got a couple of glow-in-the-dark snakes. I really remember those from when I was a kid. We used to get those all the time. I don't know if they were in crackers or what, but I remember owning them and having fun with those in the dark. Obviously, the main feature with these drawers is they keep everything nice and dry, but they also keep them in the dark. So that stops any vintage toys from fading in sunlight. Like if you keep them on display in full lit room or in sunlight, they, especially all the white parts, end up yellowing. So that was the first set of drawers anyway. That's how I kind of keep them in my house. And then I've got these other drawers. Now, a lot of these drawers have got other things in, like fossils, minerals, flint tools, bits of archaeology, all kinds of different collections. But I'm going to take out the ones that have got kind of vintage toys and 80s stuff in. I'll show you those as well, just to give you an idea what's in them. You can see that these drawers are really thin. I think they're at least half the thickness of the other ones, if not less. I know there's like 30 drawers in each set of these. They're quite tall, but I really recommend that you pick them up if you happen to see some for really cheap, because they're so useful for kind of organising stuff. Right, so the first drawer that I'm going to show you contains pin badges. I did a separate video on these recently, so check that out if you get a chance. Now, these pin badges, they're not vintage, they're modern, most of them, pretty much all of them, but they are of kind of vintage themed characters and things that I remember from when I was a kid. So for me, looking at a drawer like this, all full of colour and full of all of the little characters that I remember from when I was a kid, is a really nice thing to do. And they're just so small as well. So if you're thinking of collecting something but you haven't got much space, collecting pin badges is a good way to go. They hardly take up any space at all, really. So I've got a couple of drawers of those, and then the next drawer contains actual kind of button badges. With those, again, I've just got like a few in a drawer, but actually quite a lot of them are hung up in one of my cabinets. So these are just some of the ones that I really remember from when I was a kid. Some of my kind of favourite ones. Again, a lot of these collections aren't necessarily complete. I'll just add to them every so often. If I happen to find another badge or pin badge that is a sort of bargain price and is one that I haven't got yet, I'll pick it up and just add it in. Same with these erasers. Again, I've tried to collect back all of the ones that I really remember from when I was a kid. There are so many 80s erasers. You could literally collect thousands and thousands of different ones. But all of the ones in these drawers are ones that kind of mean something to me from when I was younger. If they're not ones that are exactly the same as the ones that I owned when I was a kid, they might be ones that I remember particular friends having at the time. But yeah, each one is one that I remember from back in the day. Occasionally, with some of these, like this one that says love, star, fun, hot, kiss, cool, wow, and smile, I didn't necessarily remember what one I had back in the day, so I just collected back the whole set. My favourite of all of the erasers are this set of Star Wars cased ones here that you're seeing right now. Those were quite hard to get the entire set, but I was really pleased when I did, because I really loved those, and I definitely had 2 or 3 of them when I was a kid. This next drawer is full of HCF erasers, so things like the Danger Mouse ones and Super Ted, Postman Pat. And again, a lot of these I've collected in their little packets. They weren't particularly expensive to pick up. You just got to keep looking on eBay until you find some that are a bargain price. There are some fruit lipstick erasers there as well. Incidentally, a lot of those erasers smell really good. This drawer's just got a few pencil cases and rulers and stencils, that kind of thing. The Yoda pencil tin is my favourite of like all of the pencil cases that I had when I was a kid. Then we've got a whole load of different pencils. Most of these are kind of mint and unsharpened. I remember some of those like popper point ones where you had to push down a little bit and then one lead would come out and then you like push down the next one. And then some of those with like coloured leads where you've got various colours in the same lead and you sharpen it. And then things like mini packs of pencils, loads of different pencil tops. These are a whole load of Munch Bunch ones. If you're trying to collect these particular pencil tops and you're trying to get a whole set that matches all the ones that were on the Munch Bunch books, it's virtually impossible because there are so many kind of colour variations and things, it's hard to know which one is supposed to be which. They're not identical. So I've got some Mr. Mem ones there as well, and Danger Mouse and that sort of thing. Okay, these are T cards. I've tried to get back all of the sets of these as well from the old PG tips. And there are so many, I think there's like 50 odd sets or something. But yeah, I think I've managed to get them all now, fingers crossed, or pretty much. There might be 1 or 2 that I still need to get. But what's really cool is there's a little box that you see at the end there that has all of the ones in, so it's like a checklist. Okay, then we've got some calculators. I know this is pretty sad, but these are calculators that I just remember owning when I was a kid. I still need to buy back a little professor at some point as well. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little tour. This last drawer is just full of bits and bobs, by the way. Check out my other videos. Hit subscribe to see anything that I post up in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.